Obama will choose diplomacy first and military force as a last resort.
I'm getting so many emails, I think it froze.
Remember last year's theme of more respected, more respected in the world.
In a world troubled by terror, by trafficking in weapons, drugs,
safer at home, more respected in the world.
By human rights abuses of the most awful kind.
I thought that was a horrible one, but it's obviously
by
the same
other
theme.
threats to our security, our interests,
his time limit was
and
10
values.
minutes, and it's 10 minutes.
When
Mark.
He
Thank you, Mr. President.
Partners, he will stand up to them.
Record email volume.
Barack Obama also
There's
will not
another
allow
Obama.
the world's
I hope I haven't missed
problems
any.
to
I have 8.
obscure its opportunities. Everywhere, in rich and poor countries alike, hardworking people need good jobs, secure, affordable health care, food, and energy, quality education for their children, and economically beneficial ways to fight global warming. These challenges cry out for American ideas and American innovation. When Barack Obama unleashes them, America will save lives, win new allies, open new markets, and create wonderful new jobs for our own people.
And that's just on the first day.
Most important of all, Barack Obama knows that America cannot be strong abroad unless we are first strong at home.
He's right about that.
People the world over have always been more impressed by the power of our example than by the example of our power.
What'd you think of that, Howard? Put the mic up there. What'd you think, Howard?
I was very impressed with that line.
Howard Wolfson, very impressed with that line.
Look,
you'll probably hear more of that later.
Isn't that a gratuitous use of the Howard Dean scream?
I think it has become gratuitous. Looking
at the example the Republicans
12 minutes. Mark.
In this decade, American workers have consistently given us rising productivity. That means year after year they work harder and produce more. Now, what did they get in return? Declining wages, less than 1/4 as many new jobs as in the previous 8 years, smaller health care and pension benefits, rising poverty, and the biggest increase in income inequality since the 1920s.
Good grief, I need a nap after all that. Wow.
American families, by the millions, are struggling with soaring health care costs and declining coverage. I will never forget the parents of children with autism and other serious conditions who told me on the campaign trail that they couldn't afford health care and couldn't qualify their children for
13
Medicaid
minutes, Mark.
unless they quit work and starved or got a divorce. Are these the family values the Republicans are so proud of? What about the military families pushed to the breaking point by multiple deployments? What about the assault on science and the defense of torture? What about the war on unions and the unlimited favors for the well-connected?
Oh, I know what he means. Fair enough.
And what about Katrina and cronyism? My fellow Democrats, America can do better than that.
Beth says the Katrina count, the Obama count is
and
now
Barack
10.
Obama will do better than that.
14 minutes. Mark. 4 minutes over now. 40% over the time.
Wait a minute. But
it's a lot worse when you say 40% over versus 4 minutes over.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Forward rebels, watch the fame. Get that line and win this game. We know that you'll fight.
Yes, he can, but first we have to elect him. The choice is clear. The Republicans in a few days will nominate a good man who has served our country heroically and who suffered terribly in a Vietnamese prison camp. He loves his country every bit as much as we do. As a senator, he has shown his independence of right-wing orthodoxy on some very important issues. But on the two great questions of this election,
15 minutes, Mark.
How to rebuild the American dream and how to restore America's leadership in the world, he still embraces the extreme philosophy that has defined his party for more than 25 years. And it is,
Jeffrey Hart.
to be fair to all the Americans who aren't as hardcore Democrats as we, it's a philosophy the American people never actually had a chance to see in action fully until 2001, when the Republicans finally gained control of both the White House and the Congress. Then we saw what would happen to America if the policies they had talked about for decades actually were implemented. And look what happened. They took us from record surpluses to an exploding debt. From over 22 million new jobs to just 5 million.
It was a betrayal of
From
their own values
increasing
that led to
working
these
families'
things.
incomes
16
to nearly
minutes, Mark.
$7,500 a year to a decline of more than $2,000 a year. From almost 8 million Americans lifted out of poverty to more than 5.5 million driven into poverty.
Teresa in
and
Van Nuys,
millions
California, from the
more
list Clinton is
losing
putting
their
out,
health
Obama will
insurance.
need 3 terms to get it
Now,
done.
in spite of all this evidence, their candidate is actually promising more of the same. Think about it. More tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans that will swell the deficit, increase inequality, and weaken the economy. More Band-Aids for health care that will enrich insurance companies, impoverish families, and increase the number of uninsured. More going it alone in the world instead of building the shared responsibilities and shared opportunities necessary to advance our security and restore our influence. They actually want us to reward them for the last 8 years by giving them 4 more.
17 minutes. 10 was the limit.
Now, let's send them a message that will echo from the Rockies all across America. A simple message. Thanks, but no thanks. In this case, the third time is not the charm.
Third time, not the charm.
My fellow Democrats, 16 years ago, you gave me the
Tongue-in-cheek,
profound
saw it.
honor to lead our party to victory and to lead our nation to a new era of peace and broadly shared prosperity. Together,
18
we
minutes
prevailed
and
in a hard
Mark.
campaign in which the Republicans said I was too young and too inexperienced to be commander-in-chief.
I remember you saying that recently. There's Hillary all smiles, and Chelsea's like, oh, they did say that, didn't they? There we go. Michelle's up with that. Everybody. See, they're trying to reconcile, right? That's smart, huh? Don't you think, Howard, that's smart? Brilliant.
Sound familiar? It didn't work in 1992 because we were on the right side of history.
Aha.
It also didn't
And
work.
it will not
Hillary
work in
Clinton's
2008
campaign,
because
if I may
Barack
be so bold as to
Obama
say.
is on the right side of history.
Well, he did address it. You know, there were a lot of questions about whether he'd go there, and sure enough, he went there. You know, a lot of people felt like he really had to, because you can't just say that stuff and leave it floating. You had to put it away, and I guess he just did. But it took him
Senator
19
Obama's
minutes, Mark, to get it
life is
done.
a